2020. It's 9:10 a.m. Roll call, please.
Jim Marlowe,
Present.
Brent Gentry, Ron Ellis.
Present.
The only thing we have on here is the appropriations transfer. I talked with Rhett last night. Rhett came up with this resolution, sent it to Brandon. Brandon looked at it. Brandon said he made a few tweaks.
You know where they're at?
No, I don't.
That's a typo on 5. It says the county board instead of.
What'd you say?
The count board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
think that was edited, but I mean, I'd like to know what he edited. I sent an email over there because
On number 5, read that one. County board anticipates substantial losses in revenue due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but desires not to revise the adopted budget at this time.
It should be county.
yeah.
Right,
I caught that
the
one.
county board, right, but what I'm getting is, the very last sentence, but desires not to revise the adopted budget at this time, which is a true statement, at this particular time.
Have we laid reds out besides this, besides Brandon's?
In-
See,
In this, the only question I have is, if you want to understand, this doesn't have to be done right now because we don't know the numbers yet until Wednesday. Is that correct, Ashley?
Yeah, I mean, basically, the list that we received of the furloughed employees, some of those employees aren't actually beginning their furloughs and didn't begin their furloughs until yesterday. So, I mean, had I used the list and just calculated it, then that wouldn't have been accurate. So what we have the employee list of people that were being furloughed. We printed out a prior full paycheck or pay stub for each one of those employees. And then what I'm gonna have Marla do after she finalizes payroll and submits it, is we will then look at that finalized payroll against like those particular employees and see if truly they were not paid, or if they were, whatever portion they were paid, we would just basically subtract the difference out, and then that would become the savings. So I'm gonna have to basically do it on like on a week lag time, in essence, that we would have the payroll ran, then I would check that back against those employees, make sure they weren't paid, or if there was anything else, then I'll take into that account that savings from each respective line item in that department's budget, pull it from that line item, and then transfer it into contingency. And it will only be the gross wages. I'm not going to be moving any of the savings from like FICA or IMRF or anything to that effect into the contingency
Right.
line item, because we may end up being short on a couple of those anyway.
I understand.
So
that.
that's the only thing, would be the gross wage line item from that respective department.
Okay.
The other thing, this furlough thing, the way it's set up is for 2 weeks at a time. So we may have a list of who the people are at this moment, but we're not going to know who the people are necessarily 3 weeks from now. It could change.
Well, I guess the question, who said it was 2 weeks at a time? Because I mean,
You
some
guys.
departments I've spoke with said that those specific people that are off until they call them back. Then I saw another department that had a defined period for a specific employee. And that's the only reason why I found out that some were not, as of last, or whatever, a week and a half ago, that they weren't going into effect until like today, and then they were being recalled on May 6th.
Yeah.
So,
It was set up originally for 2 weeks. That's the way it was, that literally is the way it was set up, because that it was supposed to be a rotation basis, because some of the office holders didn't want the same person. Apparently there was some grumblings inside their ranks that somebody was going to have off more than somebody else. So it was literally set up for 2 weeks at a time. And then each department can choose how they want to do that. But they're supposed to have the number that they agreed to off on furlough each week, that number. But the names could change.
Well, then I'm gonna have to send out an email to them saying that I need an updated list when those names change.
Exactly.
Because right now, we have the initial list that was given. And then that's all we have to go on.
But that will not be the list that stays for the full 6 weeks.
Okay, I'm gonna recommend that we table this right now till we can get a copy of what Rhett sent. And then we
I'm sending it to Joey right now. So I'm reading more, seeing both in front of me.
Yeah.
She should get that in a second.
So, is that okay with you guys, or
Yeah.
you wanna?
I think we need to
until
make,
get
we need to make sure as to how it's going to be implemented in each office also.
So,
The timeframe of the individuals don't matter. We just need to be, in order for me to be able to calculate it, and I just need to know who the employees are. Like, if there's a specific office
right,
that
no, I
says,
understand.
these 5 people or 4 people or 12 people are out until I call them back and it's the same ones every 2 weeks, that's fine. But if there are offices that are doing the rotation types status, then I just need to know when and who is going on and off.
So have
that way we can-
you contacted the offices?
No, because I wasn't aware that we got the initial list.
Yeah.
From kind of a combination of Marla getting it and Julie getting it. And so we compiled it and have it written out. But I wasn't aware that some offices were picking specific individuals and only having them offered
Just
for
wanna
a
make two
period of
copies.
2 weeks. And again, the only reason why I even found the one that said April 26th, which is actually this new pay period, that means that individual that was listed on there is getting their full paycheck this particular time. I wouldn't have known that some of them weren't being implemented until, different dates and different periods. So we just need to be made aware.
Yep.
Thanks.
Well, I understand, you gotta know what employees.
Well, you have to. I mean, there's no way.
And that's why it's easier for me to do it after the fact, keeping a close timeline to when it actually occurred. But if we can finalize the payroll, then we can print a run, see who's listed on there and match it against the list that we have. And if there's someone that's on there that we had that was supposed to be off or vice versa, then we could contact that office and make sure that we had everything, correct.
She's gonna get it. We'll sit there and look at it. Well, two ways of going about this. I think we can make more out of what it is. You can either just take the money out as a 2-week increments. If they didn't go 2 weeks, we'll put the money back in.
I'm not doing that.
Why?
I mean, if I look at it and I see the difference and I just do it at one time, I'm not, there's no reason to.
This is a
estimate
moving
the
deal. Nobody
difference.
knows what anybody's gonna do around here. It's been a cluster from the get-go. So I don't see what the big deal is. If don't do it, we could pass this today contingent upon the numbers are right and be done with it. Instead of keep coming back. What I heard was 2 weeks is gonna be the minimum.
That's what I was under the impression of, was 2 weeks.
So I guarantee you, 2 weeks is gonna be.
You,
Yeah, that's how it
that's how we
was.
set it up.
Because we had office holders that were complaining that they didn't, they had some people that was too valuable, that they had to be back in the office. And then they didn't want, there were some people that wanted to be off for the full time, and there's some people that did not. And each office was going to be different. Is the way I understood it. And we asked the question, we asked a question on the get-go from a couple different departments, what their rotation schedule would be. And we were literally told, we don't know.
Right, your instance that that's assuming everybody's paid exactly the same.
Right.
Because
And
otherwise, if you have an individual that's off right now that's getting paid $16.50 an hour, and I take $16.50 an hour out now, and then the next 2 weeks, the individual's getting paid $14 an hour. The way you described it, Brent, is that I'm just taking out the gross wages for that $16.50 individual from here on out. So then I'm basically
Give us one of each.
Yeah, after the. pay
penalizing,
period.
I'm penalizing that department
Number two.
for moving to individuals, whereas if I do it after the fact, I've got a true number that I'm working with. Yes, I'm gonna be bringing it to you every, 2 weeks, but it's a more accurate number.
Yeah, because there's no way to know who's going to be involved. And then, I thought it interesting, the email we got that shows the court system is not going to open.
Right.
And, but we've been told by our chief judge and our state's attorney that they were going to bring people back on May 4th.
I heard it from.
Well, that's the presiding judge, and the chief judge is the one who signed that order saying that everything stayed.
I heard that the state's attorney, I didn't hear that.
Through the entire month of May. Nothing is, the exact same order that was written for April has been written for May. So you're talking emergency things only. Maybe some of the judges are going to be doing certain status hearings and case management conferences from via phone and Zoom, just to be ready to go. But otherwise, there are no hearings, unless it's in a
Protection of order.
or emergency issues only. Yeah. Unless for some reason the state Supreme Court changes their mind over the next week. But yeah, what it is now is what it's going to be for the upcoming month. And as well. So yeah, no ramping up, no additional activity, nothing to that effect.
Okay. So he added that temporarily in effect.
We got about 3 things.
Yeah. He just added the board of commissioners on that one, on number 2. That we instruct the county treasurer to hereby transfer the savings. That's what he's got on here.
And basically what I'll do is I'll, just like I think I had sent Jim, but every year we do a transfer into the budget year, which will basically identify the line item and then the amount going from the respective department, and then the final, that total will then be transferred into the commissioner's contingency.
Is that something?
Okay, I didn't get that one. Where is it? Temporary. Well, yeah. I think what we need to do is, honestly now, from my understanding, we're supposed to do this every pay period.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So would that qualify in your guys' mind, that this particular resolution is a temporary? Would each resolution have a different number
Yes,
every pay
if
period?
you're gonna do this every,
So this then would be a temporary because it's until the next pay period.
I guess so.
Right.
Okay, so I mean,
It doesn't have dates on it though, but you're saying you have to do it every pay period?
yeah,
What he's saying here, guaranteed to bring it back, which of course we are, trying to cover that.
Because it's approved this.
In other words, not of it.
I mean, basically, if you're wanting to, if you have to approve each one, I mean, I can, if you want to table this, then, like I said, maybe Monday or Tuesday of next week, then I can provide the attachment of the actual numbers that would go with like this respective resolution.
that would give us a little more time.
And
It
then-
doesn't matter, we're gonna move it one way or other.
And then you would, and then every time, basically, you would have the same cover page and language, and then I would attach a new amendment or a new exhibit to this with the corresponding pay period and transfers.
And the only thing, the only reason why I said that might be okay is Celeste's got 2 resolutions for us to approve that she brought down. And I told her, I said, we could put it on the next board meeting. So if we had this board meeting, we could throw those on there as well and get those knocked out.
I think it's a good idea to
Give us a
have,
little time to just to look at this, or we can,
I think it's a good
However you wanna
idea
do it.
because the way this is supposed to be done, the intent was to pass one of these resolutions each and every time there was a payday.
Right.
So the only way you're gonna do that, it's gonna have to be after the fact. And the following Monday is a good time, or Tuesday is a good time to do that, because that gives you a chance to know the exact numbers, because the numbers are going to change from each payday.
Okay.
They're not going to be the same.
Now, you're saying you'll have those numbers on every Wednesday?
Well, during a payroll cycle and the actual paycheck week.
Yeah.
Wednesday is the finalized file.
Okay,
So on Wednesday morning, tomorrow morning, Marla will have finalized and made all the changes, adjustments, everything would be closed out, and everything would be calculated, and on Wednesday morning is when she sends that ACH file to, First Southern.
Okay.
That pays everybody.
So-
And prints the paper checks for those individuals that, still want a paper check. So that's when it would be finalized, so I would be able to then pull the report on that Wednesday to see the individuals that were paid, and then I could match them up with the furloughed people to make sure they weren't on the list, they're on the list and they were not paid.
Okay.
And then I would have that dollar figure, and then I would look up their respective line item that they're paid out of, and that's what I would reduce each department.
okay. So,
do we need a number on this to table this? It's explain how it doesn't.
No, we don't
You
need
need
to-
a
Now we're
number on
doing
it
it.
now.
If we're gonna table it, we don't need a number.
No.
I'm just gonna say for the reading of it, because we're just basically tabling the resolution,
No, you don't need a number to table
the
it,
transfer.
because if we're tabling, there's no vote.
Huh?
What, we need to say on record what we're tabling.
okay, the resolution to transfer money out of the general fund salary expense into the voluntary furlough program fund, or to the contingency,
We'll do this
to
first.
the contingency
The
fund.
first of next week, right?
Right. Okay. Then, so I make that motion that we table it.
Second.
Ron Ellis.
Yeah.
Brent Gentry. Jim Marlowe.
Okay. The only
Hang on just a second, Ashley.
Okay, the only other thing that we need to discuss and bring up is what we talked a little bit about last night, Ashley. And I know you and Amanda are paying your employees out of special funds. I would ask that you kind of reconsider. I guess before I ask that though, let me ask, is this a temporary thing or is this going to be a permanent thing?
This is a temporary thing because they're
Okay.
picking up the slack of the staff, so.
Explain to me what you're doing, what's going on here?
I think you're paying from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, you instructed me that, I guess because of the extra workload of the staff that they have now, because they have certain members furloughed, that they're paying an additional bonus or stipend, is that correct, out of your own funds?
I'm paying some out of the special funds, which are just funds in my office.
Correct.
For my staff, because they're doing the work of the 6 other employees, yes.
Okay.
So I'm paying them a little extra. That is temporary. It's coming out of my funds, not the general fund.
No, I understand.
How does the workload increase that has been on the last 4 weeks, with somebody coming in?
Well, they've been just getting by and doing it.
To me, it's a slap in the face to people furloughed.
Why they're off.
They're getting paid
Doesn't
more.
matter.
They're making more money, so I don't
It's a
understand.
slap,
It's
it's a slap in the face,
face.
but it tells me if we can pay people out of that fund and for budget purposes, that we're paying too much in some areas, so we need to look at that. Maybe they can pay stuff out of their funds for the next budget, but we're gonna need to.
My concern is how the union's gonna look at this. Because when they're always watching your offices.
I watch everybody's offices.
Exactly. And,
Is that an option? I've got funds, can I pay my people to work here?
I'll look at it this way, if you pay out those funds, come budget time, we're gonna ask you to pay more of those funds.
I'm already paying.
That's what, it gives me a green light to ask for that, that's what we'll do. That's what I'll do.
Here's what I don't understand.
Mhm.
For the last month, offices have been working at a reduced staffing levels.
Mhm.
And that wasn't a problem then. And now all of a sudden, it's a problem. I don't understand that, A. And B, we're in a very serious financial crunch. It's not imagined. It's not just coming from la la land. It's an actual, very serious financial crunch. And I do not understand why we need to pay anybody extra money to do the job that they're required to do in the first place. And especially for the last month, people have been staying home. We've had reduced rates, populations, workers, and there's not been any problem with this previously. I quite frankly find it very unconscionable that anybody would get paid extra to do their job. That's what we're supposed to do.
Jeff, you can't do that. But what this tells me is, come budget time, we need to ask for more funds, ask for more money on those funds. We need budget much. That's up your call. The office holder.
Now, the funds are their money, their funds.
Sure.
You know, it's not the general fund.
Right.
But I just at times ask that, you know, before you do anything like that, consider what we have to go through in dealing with the unions, the 4 different unions, and how they look at things like that.
I look at the general public.
Well,
You look at the general public. You've got people that are not working that would love to be able to work, and somebody's being given extra money to do their job. They could have volunteered to have been furloughed if they wanted to. I just think it's a bad precedence. I think it's absolutely unequivocally wrong. And, you know, as elected officials, you guys can do that. But I think you really seriously need to reconsider that and not do it.
and that's all we can do is ask that you
Yeah.
reconsider. That's all we can do.
If you remember, they were I couldn't get people options, I had to have certain key people there to get certain functions done. Plus, more of my key people, I'm already paying her whole salary up here. So, you know, she didn't have an option. She had, you know, she wasn't, nobody was given an option.
Well, are you paying anybody extra?
No, but it's a good thought.
No, it's not.
No,
I'm just saying, and honestly, I
Then
hadn't
it's-
thought of that.
If it's not an issue if you're not gonna do it.
it's a department. Let them do what they want.
But again, I had to have certain key people. I'm sure the treasurer had to have certain key people. The man has to have certain key people. So if it wasn't an option, it has people whether or not they want to go on furlough, because that would cause the home mess. So I keep hearing this voluntary furlough. That's really.
The voluntary was only on our part. because
The
they
voluntary
discussed.
is from the office holders,
Okay.
because we can't tell.
That's not the way it sounds.
Well, it
yeah.
was discussed at times that some employees may decide, hey, I'll go ahead, I'll volunteer to do it because they may make more
Yeah, but
money.
We had to look at the job that has to be done and
No,
who
I
has to do
understand.
that job. Not everybody can do those jobs.
And even
And the ones who
So
are
in other
left
words, they
behind
could-
are doing the jobs of the other people who are not here.
I understand. So the employee couldn't just come up and say, hey, I'm just gonna go ahead and volunteer if it was a key person.
No,
That
it
you
was
need.
my
It was
decision.
your decision. That's correct.
That's
No,
right, because I
understand.
know how the office runs and who I need.
Correct.
It's like
And that's
right now,
why
we're
it's
trying to do
voluntary.
taxes, we've got a tip we've got
I
to do.
understand.
Janice has
The
to be here for
voluntary
that.
was how many we were gonna cut.
No,
Exactly.
Household.
yes, but the voluntary was whether the office holder wanted to participate and have the furlough or not. That's where it was voluntary.
That was, okay.
Because as an elected, as county commissioners, we are not allowed
You cannot interfere in any work. in the office.
to tell an elected office holder. Now, appointed is, and, you know, you're a good situation, huh?
Once I'm appointed, you cannot
Once we set the budget,
tell the duties of anybody in my office, you can't move people around, you can't have them do anything.
but where we have the control is the budget.
It's only the budget, that's right. You can't interfere in any workings in my office once I'm appointed. Who gets, you know, tell me who to lay off, how many, any of that.
Okay.
Also.
All right. Well,
You ready to get your people board review?
Yes, we're ready.
we're supposed to call that first guy at 9:15. So I make a motion then we adjourn from our meeting.
I'll second.
Jim Marlowe,
Yes.
Bert Gentry,
Yeah.
Ron Ellis.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Lisa here today, we got the other one, Jeff.
That Lisa's there.
Hold on, you guys are still on.
Brett sent Doc, he sent Doc over documents on changes, but it's that temporary wording.
And then we need to get the word county